What's going on, YouTube? We're back at it for another video, and we've got another one of those weak spot melter weapons from Modern Warfare Zombies. And we've got, today, the Xrk Stalker. Now, this sniper rifle is going to be a powerhouse when it comes to hitting weak spot damage, but I will state up front, this may not be the most solo-friendly weapon. Case in point is the sheer fact that it is still a sniper rifle, and when it comes to clearing out crowds of zombies, it can be pretty troublesome by the time you get into the Tier 3 zone. Now, with the Tier 3 zone, the biggest reason that it ends up being a little bit of a hindrance is the simple fact that armor is going to be eating some of those shots and not killing the zombie. It won't be able to penetrate through and finish those zombies quite as quickly as it will in Tier 1 and 2. You will still be able to clear a few crowds inside of Tier 3, but more than likely, a lot of moments you may end up having to run more often and then shoot behind you instead of having that ultimate clearing power like you've seen with some other weapons. But when it comes to overall decimating damage, especially against weak spots towards high value targets or any of those special infected, it is an absolute decimator. But that being said, let's jump into the weapon itself. Now, when it comes to the overall build of this weapon, I'd say there are only two things that I would say would be a mandatory for going forward and being successful with this weapon, and that's going to be the 10-round mag and the Xrk Stalker light bolt, which is going to give us that rechambering speed to give us a little bit more of that fire rate close to the longbow, but not in the same fashion of how fast that longbow can spit out those rounds. Now, beyond that point, arguably, I would love to have the no stock attachment. Sadly enough, I don't know how to unlock this, and I don't know whether or not this is just a bug right now, or later on we'll eventually have this unlocked with an aftermarket part or something along those lines. But I would have probably put that on here just to try and go for like a close range, really kind of almost hip-fire build and strong mobility. But with the build I have here, I'm going for more of a ranged build. That way I can kind of put some distance, get some vantage points, and be able to hit those weak spots and just kind of melt those special infected or high-value targets from a bit of distance. Play a little bit of sniping inside of, well, not Warzone, but the Modern Warfare Zombies. And it does have a nice change of pace to have that distance between you and the zombies and being able to just kind of snipe them at a distance and do some massive amounts of damage. This would be something that would be great for group play if you've got a couple of other people that can just kind of crowd control while you're able to hit those weak spots. This is definitely going to be one that's going to be reigning at the top, decimating those mega bombs and any of those high value targets. Now, when it comes to the optic, you can leave it as the long range option, but my problem, especially since we're going to be showcasing this in solo gameplay footage, I went with the Eagle Eye, what is it? Choreo Eagle Eye 2.5. But with the Choreo Eagle Eye 2.5, that gives me all the zoom I'll need for certain ranged moments, but at the same time not giving me too much zoom, so in those moments when I've got a crowd of zombies in front of me, I'm still able to zoom in and not feel like I can't hit the target because there's too much zoom going on. But beyond that, I went with the FSS OLEV laser just to give me a bit more of that ADS time and cutting down on our sprint to fire time. And on top of that, I went with the KLX 09 short barrel. Again, another one of those moments where we're just trying to get a little bit more speed with aim down sights, the sprint to fire, and a little bit of sprint speed. Now, if you're going for maximum range, I would suggest going with the Fission 60 barrel. And I have played around with the ammunition a bit. Armor piercing doesn't seem to really do anything. It's terrible. I wish it was actually something for more bullet penetration through armor and to give us a little bit more clearing power when it came to armored zombies. I would love that, if only they change that in the future. And the problem with explosive and incendiary rounds is you lose your penetration power through zombies. It's not the worst, but it will cut down on our velocity, but we won't get a huge damage buff from these. It's definitely not noticeable, and without them we're still dealing just as much damage as we were with using these. Sadly enough, the number one thing is just you want to leave these off if you're trying to utilize this just to clear a couple of zombies here and there, as if you do put these on, you won't have that penetration power of going through multiple zombies, which I think for the most part it's only going to go through one, but one bullet being able to kill two zombies at one time is going to be much better than you just utilizing one at a time to just kill one zombie at a moment, as we're only going to have 20 rounds with this magazine in total. So we do want a little bit more of that clearing power, especially even if you did have people that were helping you out clear those zombies. This is something to kind of help with you in those moments when a couple of them are starting to come after you, and it could be one of those moments where you can deal with them a little bit easier, especially if you are a bit low on ammo. Now, I will be using a secondary with this, which is going to be the Tonfa. That's just going to make it a little bit easier for me in certain moments to not only be able to switch to something that'll be a bit more quick when it comes down to my overall movement, but at the same time, with the Tonfa, I'll be able to take down some of those zombies, stun lock them if I ever have one of those moments where I have just something, or just one of those zombies with zoomies right behind me, and maybe I just can't get him with that sniper rifle that quickly, or if I was just trying to run away and I've got that thing nipping at my heels, I don't exactly want to have to switch weapons, turn around, aim in, and then kill it. So the Tonfa will kind of make up for some of those moments. You could choose something else that would be your secondary if you're going for something along the lines of an SMG or something with a little bit more mobility for that clearing factor, but a lot of times I find that it's hard enough just to get one weapon to tier 3 if you don't have many crystals going in straight away, and it's just hard to keep both of them up and still have enough time to clear out the tier 3 zone without that. But with the Tonfa, lucky enough, all we really need is a blue ether tool, and this will be everything we need even to kill some of the zombies within tier 3 really quickly. It's an ultimate secondary, and it's got that mobility factor that you really need in order to make sure that you're able to train those zombies and just keep running away from them. With that being said, let's get straight into the gameplay and start melting some of these high value targets. Alright guys, we're inside the match now, and we're going to start drinking up. We're going to pack 2 this, get that purple rarity on it. Now, arguably even with blue rarity, you should do pretty well with this, but I will say once again, since into the tier 3 zone, you know, the better you can get that rarity, the more damage you're going to be popping off with. But the blue will still do fine. And one thing I will say is you would definitely want to have some speed cola with this. You won't need it essentially in the very beginning, considering we still will have 20 rounds with this, but by the time you're getting into tier 2, or especially for tier 3, you definitely want to have that speed cola for that reload speed. But let's just drink all these down, and when it comes down to our overall damage output from ammo mods, you know, it's going to be up to you, but napalm's always just going to give us that little bit more of that damage. But I'll see you in the tier 2 high value target. Now we finally made it over to our high value target. Now the great thing about this weapon is you can play it like a sniper rifle. Sadly enough, you know, we've only got a 2.5 zoom on this. If you had the original scope on this, would be a bit easier, and I have used this before to the point where if you can get a nice vantage point on some of these, the high value target will never notice you, and you're just able to keep picking off those headshots. Like when I do this right now, I mean, he's basically just going to run over, think, man, what hit me, and that's all he's going to do. He's just going to keep running around, not really understanding what's going on. And it's quite ridiculous. And then you'll notice we just took out half of his health bar after that armor was off. Now you think about if you had a full-on zoom scope, that'd make this absolutely ridiculous. Just how easy that was. And we'll showcase some of the zombie power. Now you'll notice even against these armored zombies, now if I shoot him in the chest, okay, somehow it's one-shotting right now. Generally, the armor is going to stop that bullet, and you'll need to hit him in the right shoulder, but I guess maybe at purple rarity, it just bumps it up high enough to where it's just penetrating through that. But, I mean, with that mangler just now, you can really see the raw power of how much damage you can have with this, and you can see, oh, that's a good deal. We've got some stamina back here. But you can see how much fun this can kind of like change up with that playstyle where you can actually turn into like that stealth assassin, you know, perched up on some rooftop, hitting some of those high value targets. Now, obviously the number one thing that's going to be a problem is if you have a rooftop where you can't get away from a large amount of zombies, you're going to end up having to kind of train those zombies, keep running from them, and then get those weak spot shots in. And that's why we've kind of tried to make this as snappy as it possibly can be when it comes to ADS. Hopefully soon that no stock attachment becomes unlocked. You know, if somebody knows how to actually unlock that, let me know down in the comments below. I'll pin that one because that would completely change up this build and I could make a whole different build for it. But at the same time, for right now, it's doing just fine even without it. But let's jump into the next high value target. All right, we're at the next high value target. Now, we won't exactly be able to get the vantage point we wanted on this one, but we'll still be able to showcase how much damage this can be. Now, maybe if I can get the angle properly. Let's see. Actually, might be able to get on top of this rooftop and then get the angle on him. Let's see if we can kind of play it in that route. Sometimes you'll be able to kind of like shoot around mimics, and then they'll kind of catch wind of you in a way. Let's take out some of these other ones. Starting to run around. He's noticed us. We're going to take one shot. Wow. Getting a couple of these zombies coming in. Let's see if we can get the angle on that. Headshot. Nope. Well, he's going to be coming up towards us. Let's see if we can't get a good shot on him. Uh-oh. Alright. Now I'm just playing around here. Alright. Sometimes the Mimic is going to be the more dangerous one, considering they'll just be aggro and in your face and just charging after you. You can still get him down pretty quickly, but it will be a little bit more difficult to hit that weak spot at certain times. You'll want to kind of play around that, as you definitely don't want to get stuck in a moment where you've got a train of those zombies behind you. Goodness, that's a lot of speed cola. But you don't want to have a train of those zombies coming after you, and then next thing you know, you're stuck in that moment where he grabs you, throws you into the crowd, then he spits on you. I mean, it's just, even with Juggernog, it's a horrible moment to have to deal with. But you can definitely see how devastating this weapon can be by this point. But let's move on to the next high-value target. Well, we ended up getting another high-value target pretty much in the exact same location. But yet again, we've got another one of those manglers. We'll try and get the opportune vantage point for this. Let's head on up. Got the bird's eye view on him. Just take out that armor, get that shot in, and then just pull it in. Hopefully I don't miss this. Come on now. Not for the video. Alright, we'll just need the one more shot. Uh-oh. Well, come on now. It can be devastating if you don't end up landing your shots, but you can see how destructive it can be. And in certain moments, I should just take the shot. You know, you think you'd take too long trying to just line up that one shot, but in reality, we can just keep popping them off. We're not going to be running out of ammo with this one. There's no worries about missing shots, especially with how much damage we've got going here and how quickly we can reapply it. But sometimes you just want that that nice shot for the video. But moving forward, let's jump into another one of those high-value targets. Now we've got the Disciple. This one will be a little bit trickier in a way. Now, the one great thing about using the sniper rifle against a Disciple, you know, even though he can just bum rush into our face, we'll still be able to just knock that hand away and start chewing away at his health bar really quickly with this one. But he'll start to notice us pretty quickly, and more than likely he'll jet on over here, I think. Now if I can just line up the headshot. It's a little bit difficult with this particular zoom. I guess he won't notice us. I guess it's very similar to that of the Mangler. Like, at a distance, he just has no idea what's going on. It's a little bit broken, in my opinion, using sniper rifles like this, but it is an enjoyable playstyle for me. Now, sadly enough, I can't really showcase the massive amounts of damage that we can deal to him, considering it's pretty hard to get that headshot from this distance with this zoom. But if you had a better zoom, trust me, you're going to be decimating that Disciple, and if you've faced off with Disciples before, you know how tanky they can be. Even against some of the hardest hitting guns in the game, it can be really frustrating, unless you're just able to hit that weak spot really easy. And even then, they've got armor protecting that you'll have to chew through that's worse than the Mangler itself. But let's see what we got. Oh, thank God, we finally got a large backpack. Tell you what, the tier 2 loot's not too bad today, but it's almost feeling like it's a lot of speed cola and a lot of perks. I gotta make a video later on, trying to see whether or not tier 2 rewards are better than tier 3, or even just farming chests out. See if that's actually just better. But on that note, we've got one more high-value target we're going to face off with, and then we're jumping into tier 3. And it looks like we've got another Mangler. Let's see if we can get the angle right on this one. Broke the armor, he's running over, he has no idea. Should be one more shot. Boom! Feels good. I'm going to be real. I actually enjoy being the stealth assassin towards high-value targets. This is a good bit of fun. I always love sniping in a lot of, I guess, like, between Battlefield and COD. It's nothing better than popping that Foley chair out and just start popping some heads, especially if they're running or just trying to get that hard shot at a long distance. And if you land it, ooh, man, it's satisfying. And I get a little bit of that feeling from using this weapon inside of zombies. But now, ready to jump into tier 3. I'll see you next on that next high-value target. Alright, so we're in tier 3. We've got it to pack 3 now. Looking pretty nice, I can't deny it, it looks pretty nice. Uh-oh. Huh. Well, some dogs came in to ruin the moment for a second. Oh, that's right, I've got PhD. PhD is always going to be a strong suited perk that you'll want for tier 3, as those hellhounds and anything that could be of explosive nature or fire in general will be diminished in damage if not completely eradicated. Now, the one thing I wanted to showcase over here is just how quickly we can take down a Mega Abomination. Now, we will need to hit the Mega Abomination inside of the weak spots, and this is another good moment to kind of showcase how it can take multiple shots. Oh, goodness. And how it can be a little bit problematic solo. Ugh. If you just can't hit that shot. But, thankfully, we're still one-shotting zombies. But, if you've got a large crowd of them, and you've got those fat boy zombies with the armor, that's what's going to be the most, or the biggest issue for you. Considering you're not going to be able to just one-shot those zombies or have that penetration power. But let's try and get the weak spot on this one. We've got somebody down near us. I'll have to save them here in a second. I might have to... Alright, we'll showcase this here in a moment. Let's make sure that we can get this guy, and he left the game. Well, you know, I was going to grab him, but... that's a bit bittersweet. I would have liked to have picked that guy up and let him finish out his match. I know how it feels to get left out here. But let's get some more of those weak spot damage in. And we're doing pretty decent damage. Be able to melt that off. But as long as we can get those headshots in, we're going to be chunking away. Now, right now, I have what is basically a barrel that's giving us less range. So that may be diminishing my damage overall a bit. But if we were a bit closer, we could melt it just a bit faster. And if we had a legendary ether tool on top of this, that would actually give us a little bit more damage. But for right now, it is definitely melting them pretty fast. Let's just equip that, put that into the bag, and then let's go get a high-value target, see if we can get a Mega Bomb. Well, sadly enough, our first target's going to end up being a Mangler, but we can still get a little bit of a vantage point on this guy. Should just be right over here. Let's get a good clean shot on that head. See if we can get it before we start getting swarmed by zombies. That's going to be the biggest issue over here, and he will be making his way over. Then he'll be jumping on top of here, be able to throw that decoy, and hopefully we should be able to get a couple of shots in. Oh, goodness. Alright, so he's knocked us off, but we'll still be able to get a couple more of those shots in. We'll be able to blast that arm off, and then we'll be able to melt pretty quickly. Uh-oh. Now, I didn't really talk about this in the video itself right at that moment because I was just kind of focused on showcasing the weapon, but in moments like this, I should never find that a tier 3 high-value target is only dropping me a blue ether tool. I'd make a strong argument that should always be a purple ether tool every time, especially since we've got tier 4 and 5 apparently after this. It's a bit ridiculous for me to have to farm some of these moments in order to basically get the most lackluster loot inside of the game. A blue ether tool might as well be considered as much as like a green ether tool in tier 1, or even just getting that at a tier 2. But at the same time, you will notice that we are dealing some devastating damage towards that Mega Abomination. As long as we're within range, the sad part is about the barrel that I'm using right here is that we're pretty much within 20 meters of having the most effective amount of damage to this, but if we had that longer range barrel, we could be dealing a lot more damage at a lot larger of a distance. And that's where some of these moments where we take these vantage points, that damage does kind of drop off. But at the same point, we're still getting that job done really quickly. Alright guys, we've got a Mega Abomination over here. This should be a pretty interesting one, hopefully. Oh goodness. They found me. Hold on. Uh-oh. Thankfully, we still have a pretty decent clearing power, but this is why I would highly suggest not doing this as a solo player. Can still be extremely deadly. But let's try and get some of those weak spot shots. Hold on. There's one. Now against the high value. Ooh, ho ho, buddy. And what we're going to need to do is move on in closer to the target. I wish I could have just parachuted right there. Sadly enough, we're not going to have that option right now. What we're going to do is run over here, try to get onto this rooftop. We're going to throw a decoy really quickly. Jump up top here, and then get a couple of shots on the weak spot itself. And you'll notice we'll start chunking away at that damage pretty quickly. And then we're going to have to hit the Tesla just to get a little bit more damage in. Uh-oh, he's turning around. This is great. Alright. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult, and this is why I would say it's not the most solo-friendly, as we're going to have all these zombies on our back in Tier 3, and it's going to be a painful experience. Now, we won't be the fastest melting thing around, but this will melt it just as fast as the shotgun or as the tiers. The only difference is that, what do we got right here? I'm good. I'm good, boys. Greatly appreciate it, but I'm good right now. Alright. Uh-oh. Oh, they're doing something. I don't know what they're doing. Let's get that other face off. Alright, we're going to keep rolling around. Get a mangler in the mix as well. Probably what we can do is just kind of end up doing this. Can I just land that? Okay, hold on. See if we can get him. Oh, goodness. He's right behind me. Ooh, danger close. I'm just trying to clear out some of those zombies really quick. Oh, goodness. Oh, danger, danger, danger. Still need to get another self revive. Should be fine for right now. This is why I say it's not exactly the most solo friendly. You know, it's getting to be a little bit more work. And if you had a group with you that were able to kind of corral the zombies and let you hit those weak spots, this is one of those weapons that'll really be one of the heavy damage type weapons that'll help out with group play. Arguably, you might even be able to use this against the worm and get some serious damage in. Okay, that's super damaging. Ooh. Alright, now I'm going to have to save that guy as well. Alright, so we're going to get back up. And we're just going to have to finish this off really quickly. Uh-oh. Oh, goodness. There's a lot of zombies doing their thing out there. And we're able to get it done. Now, we just got to get both of them. Alright, this is going to be difficult. Alright, hold on, boys. I'm going to go get some decoys, and then I'm going to get you. Don't worry, I'm coming for you. Alright, so we got to do a rescue mission in the middle of this. But one of the very specific reasons why I say this is just not perfect for solo play. It's really difficult to just kind of line up those weak spots, as we're not going to have the same two-shotting power that we had inside of Tier 2 with the Tier 3. But it's still going to be a devastating weapon. Thankfully, I should be able to get this pretty quickly. We're going to throw that off to the side, and then we should be able to pick him up pretty quickly. Hopefully, that decoy is going to last long enough. It's about to run out. Ooh. All right. So we got him up. I don't know whether or not he recognizes that he's even up right now. Sadly enough, I don't think I'm going to be able to pick out such garbage loot. I don't know what happened with this previous update, but it feels like the dogs are a bit faster. They've been kind of biting at my heel constantly, even if I have fists out. So I've started, you know, obviously rolling with the Tonfa a lot more often, but even in moments like this, it seems like there's an increase to the overall dog spawn as well. So it's kind of like if I turn around with the Tonfa, whew, it's a menacing sight right behind me. Yep, yeah, he went back down. All right, we're gonna have to do this again. So we're gonna drop this decoy right there. I think it just started firing off. Boom, we've got enough time. Hopefully he ends up just running immediately. Yeah, just run, buddy. Oh god, he's trying to shoot. I'm telling you right now, I don't know if I want to pick this guy up a third time. I'm gonna be real. He better get on out of dodge real quick. I am not feeling like being the hero all day long. But we're gonna go grab another bounty. Alright, we've got another Mega Abomination. I'm gonna get a bit of damage in right there. Oh, buddy. There's a lot of zombies out here. Alright. Let's keep those breath techniques working. Get that sprint going. So we can grab the attention of that Mega Abomination, but we should be able to take him down pretty quickly. From this vantage point, I should be able to just kind of throw this decoy over here, get a couple of weak spot shots. Well, I thought I was going to be able to. Well, we got one of his. Got that side profile. Now we've got more than a few of these zombies coming after us. Now we've got to mosey on over to this other location. We're going to have to play a little bit of triangle work over here. A little bit extra effort since we don't have somebody else covering our side, or if we don't have that clearing power. So we're going to throw another decoy. Then we're going to... Oh goodness, this might be yep, this might be a burner moment. Yep. Oh no! I don't have another self-revive. Oh my god, I forgot to buy one because I was saving the other guy. Oh no! Now thankfully there was somebody nearby that was able to come and pick me up, and that didn't have to be the end of the video right there. Greatly appreciated Maximus. He rolled over and I was able to pop my field upgrade right after to give myself a little bit of breathing room, as obviously I've lost all my perks, but we pretty much had everything that we needed with the, what was it, Speed Cola, Juggernog, and the Stamina up, everything that we possibly needed. I went and bought a couple of self-revives, even though didn't end up needing them. Sadly enough, you know, I guess all that good karma from rezzing all those other people ended up paying off towards me in this one, and I still ended up saving a couple of people after this. But thankfully, we did end up having a moment that kind of showcases how well this can do with group play. You'll notice we had a bunch of these, technically like Christmas noobs, or I guess free trial noobs that rolled in. There seems to be a lot of them recently that just, you know, they're just throwing themselves in, and they're just not ready for it. But you'll notice them taking that aggro right there, not even dealing their own damage. They're fighting the other Mega Abomination or just trying to get out of dodge. And we're able to just focus on that weak spot right there, and within a few rounds, we're able to take down that Mega Abomination. Now, sadly enough, saving the other people, going through that moment, and then having that down moment did eat up a lot of time, so I didn't have enough time to actually get another bounty going, or at least get some more going. I did end up going to face off with a Disciple, but it was not, it just does not showcase it that well. I'd honestly say facing off with a Disciple is going to be a very problematic experience for this weapon in Tier 3. More specifically if you're solo, considering you've just got so many zombies coming after you. They're supercharged, they're speedy, and then you've got the Disciple right on top of you, and you're trying to stop him from healing himself at the same time as keeping the zombies off you. It's a whole mess to deal with, and I would say just don't even deal with that headache overall. Anytime you see the Disciple come up, if you're solo play, you might as well just kind of like leave that one off to the side, and or just cancel that contract altogether. It's just a whole headache in solo play, and a lot of times I find myself, even with something like the Lockwood 680, it just eats up so much time to just try to take that guy down, because you're just trying to hit this tiny little weak spot that almost seems like it's at his neck, not even his head. But if you did have a group together, you would have absolutely all the damage you would possibly need in order to take him down. You'll have noticed that in that gameplay footage facing off with that Disciple. There was a very close moment for me to get it done, but sadly enough, when you're getting overwhelmed by the zombies, he's constantly pushing you, you're having to shoot his hand. Thankfully, the one good thing about the sniper rifle is, even inside of the Tier 3 zone, as soon as you hit his hand, you are knocking him back every single time from stopping that healing. And if you do have that group play, he's focused on somebody else, it's going to be an easy target for you to actually take down. But by yourself, it is absolutely just an overall headache and frustrating beyond belief. I would not suggest it for anybody. But that's going to be the video right there, guys. I think that showcased it well enough at how much damage it truly can be. Now, yet again, you know, I just can't stress it enough. Not the greatest for solo play, but if you're playing with some other people and you're trying to be that heavy damage dealer, no doubt is this going to be one of those sniper rifles that is going to have fantastic damage. And if you're just playing around in Tier 2 and you're doing some of those contracts, or you're doing some of those quests for the story mission, it can be perfect for those moments. As you've already seen in Tier 2, it is decimating everything, but you won't have that same level of power in Tier 3, so you will need a little bit of backup when it comes to Tier 3 to make it as smooth an experience as it is in Tier 2. But on that note, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. If you'd like to see more content like this in the future, hit that subscribe button. And if you'd like to see some of this content live, hit that link down in the description below. Follow me over at Twitch. We are streaming daily, and we've got more of that content coming in the future. I will be working on more than a few videos before we get into the Santa or Christmas update when we get into that, and I will be showcasing videos on that, hopefully, as long as the server stability actually maintains. It's the whole reason I didn't have solo guides on the rifts, and even the Easter eggs before this, I kept having every single game crash pretty much, and it just was wasting hours of my time. Unbelievably frustrating, but thankfully things seem to have smoothed out, and hopefully with these coming Christmas updates we won't have those same issues going on. But on that note, I hope you've enjoyed this. Hopefully it's helped you out, and have a good one.